Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Tactard Ted. It is the 19th day of September. You want to piss somebody off? Do you? You want to piss somebody off? Tell them a truth that they're not prepared to hear. Tell them a truth that is uncomfortable. People get more upset when you tell them the truth than if you lie to them. That's where we're at nowadays. This is where we're at with that whole fact-checking thing. Fact-checking thing is just a simple way to try to hide the truth. They don't fact-check lies. It's terrible. You don't fact-check a lie because you know it's a lie. And if it's a well-known lie, everybody just kind of laughs at it and goes on. But we have fact-checking now. And the fact checks, well, they've determined that this isn't real because of A, B, and C, which may be grammar, maybe context, maybe some little minor bullshit. And I'll give you a primary example, folks. A lot of the things that are allowed to be said and a lot of the findings now with COVID were fact-checked out of existence a year ago. There are things I can say right now about COVID I could not say last year, not without becoming a conspiracy theorist, a full hat. You notice how that goes along? You're saying your opinion, you're espousing things that certain medical professionals adhere to, and yet you are nuts. You are this, you are that. You are all sorts of nasty words. Wouldn't it suffice to just say you're incorrect? Because if you're really incorrect, you're incorrect. But no, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're an anti-vaxxer, you're a this person, you're a that person. And oddly enough, here we are a year, 2 years after some of those things were said, and now suddenly you're not nuts. And there appears to actually be some validity to the things you were saying that they, the media, the government, the powers that be, wanted to condemn you over. Isn't that interesting? Because what you said didn't fit the narrative, and it was a little true. The truth was a damning thing because it did not fit what they wanted out as the truth. They needed to discredit the truth. And if you can't discredit the message, then you must damage the messenger. Because it doesn't matter if what you say is right or not. If you're crazy, if you're a conspiracy theorist, if you're an anti-vaxxer, we've damaged your credibility, and nobody should believe you anyhow. Now, you agree with that? If you had things to say that the government and big tech did not like, and big tech and government are pretty much one and the same, it's a little joke there. Interestingly enough, these major tech companies are all monopolies. And they're monopolies that are beholden to the government. It was the FBI who told Facebook, hey, squash the Biden laptop story. Squash this, squash that. And call people out. Don't let that get reported. Don't let it get out there. And obviously Facebook was the one who was peddling disinformation at the behest of the government. And their fact-checking discredited the truth. It's set up. We understand this now. And you were a conspiracy theorist if you believed this. You were a right-wing extremist. You were this, you were that, you were the other. You agree with that? Seems pretty plausible. So remember when a Putin apologist, Putin bootlicker, Russian bot tells you things about Ukraine that do not fit the norm, you might want to start taking that with a grain of salt. You might want to start understanding that why do we call people who show you the other side of the equation, who show you news from the other line of contact, why are they all these terrible things? If it were lies, wouldn't you just laugh it off and go on? No. And you don't attack the message, you now attack the messenger, like we did with COVID, like we did with the Biden laptop, just like we've done with people that tried to say that the Russian collusion was a hoax. We couldn't attack the message, so we attacked the messenger. So, excuse me if being called a Russian bot, being called a Putin bootleg, excuse me if it doesn't bother me. Because the more that people cry and whine about what I'm saying and belittle me because of what I'm saying, then I pretty much know I'm hitting a nerve, because I've got to be closer to reality. I've got to be closer to right than they are. You need to think about this, folks. COVID-19, we were lied to. We fact-checked anything that didn't fit the government narrative. Oh, you must take this. You must not do ivermectin. You must know, if you think that you're going to do vitamin D is going to help you, you're fooling yourself. Now, all this time later, ivermectin's done some pretty incredible things. Vitamin D, I take it every day. And before I had a vitamin D deficiency, I wonder how many of those people who ended up dead also had vitamin D deficiencies. The Hunter Biden laptop, we know there's some pretty damning stuff on there. We don't know what, but it's got to be good, or they wouldn't be hiding it from us. And just remember, before the election, if you tried to say that was Hunter's actual laptop, you were a Russian bot, you were a disinformation artist, you were a Republican hack of some sort. You weren't anywhere near reality, and if it was real, the government would let us know. And now we know the FBI went to Facebook, and I guarantee if they went to Facebook, they went to Twitter, they went to all the other platforms, and they said, hey, y'all need to put the squelch on this. We're not going to allow this. No, we're not going to allow this. This isn't something you put out there. And if you believe what Zuckerberg says, which I tend not to believe Zuckerberg, Zuckerberg says that they told him, oh, this is Russian disinformation, that Zuckerberg was told it was Russian disinformation. I don't believe that. I believe that Zuckerberg and the Facebooks, the Twitters, were all willing accomplices in this. Just the same as they're willing accomplices in squelching any news that doesn't fit the narrative on Ukraine. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So I think you guys might want to look at what's going on through an objective lens. You think COVID's over? So now the government's going to wake up and say, oh, we got to be totally honest with these people. It was that COVID thing, or the Hunter Biden laptop thing, or the Russian collusion thing. No, but we're going to be, dude, we're super serious. Absolutely. Every word we're telling you about Ukraine is true. Every single word that we're telling you about Ukraine is true. And if you say anything different, you're a Russian bot. You're a Putin bootleg. Kind of interesting how all that works. I'd learned a long time ago, when people lie about you, there's no sense in being upset about it. They lied. Eventually, the lies will come out. And it doesn't matter. There are going to be people, even after the truth comes out, they're so emotionally invested in a lie, they're going to believe it. But the majority of people will understand it's a lie. They will understand that it has no bearing in reality. I know a gentleman, won't mention any names, His wife accused him of lots of terribly nasty shit. That he was this, he was that, he was a drug addict, he was a woman abuser, he did this, he did that, he did the other. And she took the couple's child and left, and immediately started getting a lawyer and firing off a bunch of stuff that wasn't true. Had it put in court documents, the accusations, affidavits. And that guy bided his time. He got a lawyer, did a countersuit, and won. Not only did he win his countersuit, he also got custody of the couple's 8-10-year-old son, however old the boy was at the time. And that's all a matter of court. The court looked at the preponderance of the evidence. The gentleman got custody of the son. And still there were one or two people that just up and down still considered him to be all these nasty, terrible things. But the majority of the people understood quite quickly that that's not the case. How does this man end up with custody if he's all these terrible things? How does he? And I will tell you today, this man is not thought of unkindly for the accusations of the divorce. There may be other reasons people think unkindly of him, mainly because he takes a stand on things, and what he says may not be your cup of tea, but he speaks what's on his mind. And those lies are forgotten in the past for what they are, lies. And it's really interesting how all of this works. So folks, don't get aggravated that the media is lying to you. It's always interesting that the media, the political powers that be, they get upset about your truths. Watch the damage control with things. Recently, a bunch of migrants were sent to Martha's Vineyard, where all the beautiful liberal elites hang out, and those people lost their shit. Collectively lost their shit. And it wasn't that they were upset about human trafficking or the abuse of people. It wasn't abuse of people. They sent a bunch of poor folks to one of the most affluential towns in the United States. Didn't they give those people a wonderful opportunity? But the people who lived there immediately lost their shit because it exposed the truth. It exposed the truth that these people don't give a shit about illegal aliens. They're a prop. And they're more than happy to have them move down the street from me or you and cause problems in your community. But when it comes to their community, oh, no. Build a wall, keep them out. Detain them, yeah. They brought in the National Guard. Yeah, the National Guard. You remember they had a fit? They didn't want the National Guard deployed to the border? But they'll deploy the National Guard to round up these folks running around in their town. And by saying this, well, you're a right-wing conspiracy theorist. You're this, you're that. Because once again, they can't argue the message. So they have to discredit the messenger. And hopefully I'm giving you guys enough examples of how this works. Because that is how it works. The lies are meaningless. The truths are what are damning. You know, I think this is one of the reasons that in the argument of left versus right in this country. The reason a lot of these leftists keep using the same talking points is they were so notoriously known as lies or such huge misrepresentations that people let them go. They didn't call them on it because only an idiot would believe these things. Unfortunately, a lot of the people who came along after this, not knowing anything else, well, look, they don't even try to push back against this. Abortion is just a clump of cells. It's just a clump of cells. Absolutely, it's just a clump of cells. Well, by that definition, you're just a clump of cells. You happen to be held together by skin, forming a human being, but you're just a clump of cells. A clump of cells can be just about anything living. So, the misrepresentations weren't called out because everybody realized they were moronic. And somehow people have managed to enshrine those. Now, the left calls everything out. The left calls everything out. They call out the truths, they call out the lies. Everything's a lie unless it came out of their mouth. And I think really one of the big problems is we go back to the fable, the story, we always heard about the little boy who cried wolf. And the problem is, if you continually lie, people just simply quit believing you. And I think the press needs to understand that. They are the little boy who cried wolf. COVID, Russia collusion, Biden laptop. Now, for those of people who get it, Ukraine. It's all lie after lie after lie after lie. And sooner or later, you folks have to be able to understand. You have to be able to realize that people haven't been pushing out. But look who they attack. Look at the people out there who are trying to get the truth out. They've got to be fact-checked. They have to be denounced. They have to be ridiculed. They have to have their patriotism attacked. They have to have their mental capacity attacked. It's very simple for me, folks. You can attack my mental capacity all you want. I don't have a problem with that. I don't. Because my mental capacity and my ability to act rationally is a matter of public record. Because in my profession, I have to have my mental capacity tested. I have to have my rationality tested every so often, or I don't get to work doing what I do. And it makes me actually pretty secure. It makes me really secure in who I am. Now, you want to question my loyalty to this country? That's great. You can question that all you want. Because I am loyal to the United States of America. Am I loyal to the government? Depends on what the government's trying to do. Does my government lie to me? Absolutely they do. Does my government try to subvert the truth? Absolutely they do. We've seen it. We've seen this FBI that we have do this repetitively. And here we are. Everything comes to a stop because of lies. So anyhow, folks, I need to figure out what's going on with the traffic in front of me, and I will talk at you later. Bye.